How hurt is Deshaun Watson, John?
He was not on the injury report this week. He went through full participation in every practice. Last week he played with a bruised sternum, a broken rib, and a partially collapsed lung. And the offense had its worst game. He had his worst game. He only got sacked 7 times and knocked down 12 more times. And yet he said this week he feels so much better than he did last week.
It just seems to me, even though his numbers, I guess statistically, fantasy-wise, are up, the offense just doesn't seem to have clicked so far, John. Is that a fair assessment?
Rich, that offense in the red zone is pathetic. Last year when he played in his 6 starts, they were number 1 in red zone touchdowns, 67%. Now they're 31st. Only ahead of the Jets. The only team's been in the red zone more than the Texans is the Rams, but they can't score touchdowns. And the closer they get, the worse they are, and they show no signs of improvement.
So what is the answer?
I don't know. They get the same quarterback. You got the same play caller in Bill O'Brien. You got another bad offensive line. They can't get a push. It's almost like you get to the 1, you get a penalty, 2 penalties on purpose to back up to get some room. And if I'm the Jaguars Sunday and they get in the red zone, I say, come on down to the 1 because they can't score from the 1.
Well, I'm assuming the Cowboys took care of any plays that Bill O'Brien still has on his sheet that includes number 4 trying to run it in from the 1, right? I mean, wouldn't you think that that's done?
Those were he couldn't find a receiver, and he took off, and that's where he got hurt. Mm-hmm. This last game, he only ran twice. He said, well, we had a more conservative game plan with my running, but Watson has to be smarter with the ball. He's got to get rid of it quicker. They worked on that all week in practice. We'll see against Jacksonville. The Jaguars sacked them 14 times in 2 games last year. Calais Campbell had 6. I would imagine he's a beast that wants to feast.
Yeah, I imagine so. And it seems like J.J. Watt's all the way back, John. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh, yeah, Rich. He's been great. He looks like he did in 2015 when he won his last Defensive Player of the Year award. Sacks, tackles for loss, quarterback hits, forced fumbles. He's been great in every area. We saw in every area, and we saw it in the second half of the opener against New England when he started to look like his old self, and now he's back to getting the double teams by the tackles and the guards, and they need other players to take up the slack. But he's been tremendous, fun to watch again. He's probably one of the few defensive players I've ever watched and not watched the ball, but watch him because he's just been so extraordinary through the years. And after knowing what he went through the last 2 years, I'm really happy for him.
Well, John McClain, Houston Chronicle here on the Rich Eisen Show. Having seen what we did see this past Sunday night between Mahomes, Chiefs, Brady, Patriots, what we might see from the Ravens against New Orleans this week, what is the viable ceiling for the Houston Texans in 2018?
The AFC South, which I thought was going to be a lot better, is mediocre again. I think the quarterback, and none of the quarterbacks are playing well except Andrew Luck, but he's got nothing around him. But of the other 3 quarterbacks, I think the one that turns it around is going to be the one that wins the division. That could be Bortles. He had one of the best games of his career against the Texans last year in Jacksonville when Jadeveon Clowney called him trash, and so now he's back home. I expect Bortles to play well against the Texans.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.